This is on the back burner right now, but it's so crazy and so indicative that I feel like I have to mention it because it's so kind of like a quick turn here, okay? But apparently on the Rule 34 website, which, you know, some of you crazy kids might have heard of, they have removed the trans woman tag and dumped all of it into the Fuda category. The trans woman tag doesn't exist anymore, which is crazy. God, they're pathetic. Yeah, it's literally like Nazi gooners who want to jerk it to women with penises, but not in a woke way. What site is it? Rule 34. Now viewing trans_woman. This is an invalid tag and its use is prohibited. The tag should not be used and should be removed from any existing posts. But which Rule 34 site? The main one, according to Quite. I don't know. The site strictly adheres to a visual tagging paradigm, i.e. tag what you see. All transgender-related tags violate this paradigm because it is almost always impossible to determine from an image alone if a character is transgender. Given the fact that a given character is canonically transgender is completely irrelevant. Really? The fact that an artist has stated that a character is transgender is also completely irrelevant. The only information that matters when tagging was literally shown in the image. Even an image visually showing a character undergoing a sex change is insufficient to show a character is transgender. Can't you just say we're transphobic in the description? Like, why bother? Why pretend this is like a rules-based decision? Oh, but they sure love making girls canonically 2,000 years old. Yeah, this is obviously like a lie. No image tagging system anywhere in any context works this way, where you remove all non-image related context. Completely nonsensical. How do I know if a character is farting just because there's a sound effect in a green cloud? True. How do you know? How would you find out? In the Harley Quinn April Fool's edition cover. Did you see that shit? You could not even tag names according to it. Oh my God, that's right. You literally couldn't even tag names. How do you know from an image that you're looking at what the names of the characters are? Sure, like the fact that the artist states they're a name clearly isn't enough. The fact that they look like a character from a pre-exist, like it's completely nonsensical. Why not just say like we hate trans people but we like women with penises? Like it's so. I don't know how many of you are aware of this. I'm guessing this is like a 50-50 split because a lot of my audience is less online than me, like significantly less online. But far-right people are fucking obsessed with women with penises, the same way they're obsessed with interracial pornography. It's like an externalization of political, you know, like their psychoses and their obsessions. And this has always been the case. Nazis have always been the case, obsessed with like the targets of their hatred. But Fuda is like the degenerate pornographer gooner term for a woman with a penis, but it's like if it's magic. So like a Fuda is like a magic anime girl with a penis magically. So she was never a man. There was no transition or whatever. It's just it's magic, you know? Whereas a trans woman and all that implies is too woke for them. Isn't Fuda hermaphrodite? I mean, it can be. You don't need to get too into the particulars. It's just like the catch-all term for degenerate anime. How do you have a girl with a penis, but like make it weeb shit and detached from real life? You know? It's politics. It is politics. It's very political. Like you can literally see this like arc over. You know, I as someone who, you know, I've seen Gurren Lagann, okay? I'm cultured, I'm hip, I'm with it. There's literally been this arc over time where for basically for as long as people have been drawing naked people, they've been drawing women with penises. Just, it goes back, you know? You can find ancient examples of that shit, like literal fucking pre-modern, you know? But like over time, there's been more of a shift towards treating that like a real thing and not like sexed up pornography shit, you know? And there's a huge difference in terms of like lewd art between Fuda shit and trans women. It's just a vibes thing. Like it's a massive difference, you know? So trying to fold everything back into the Fuda category, it's just fast shit. Really, it's just fascist shit. It's a step away from furry stuff. Well, people have been doing that forever as well. I don't know. Like, this is a fucked up thing, but I don't think Futanari itself is problematic. Dude, if I see a person in real life or like in a forum or online or whatever the fuck, and they're casually using the term fuda, I'm going to assume they are a degenerate and not worth talking to. I'm sorry. Just as a default position, it's literally censorship. It is. This is censorship, you know? One of the biggest priorities of reactionary regimes is to invalidate the existence of, just erase from public life the existence of, like, the undesirable groups. Nazis did this with the book burnings. And I would say this fits into a similar category, genuinely. The attempt to give the degenerate anime gooners, you know, the girls with dicks that they want, but to only in a context that is not woke, that doesn't validate trans women as like an actual thing that exists, and rather just as like a magical porn term. You know what I mean? Well, I'm glad to know some of you know what I mean. Probably not going to expect the best political dispositions from people who run rule34.net or whatever the fuck. Some Fuda characters aren't trans. Yeah, there were 2 separate categories, and now there aren't. Not to mention, you know, like, it's not great, obviously, but a lot of people's first exposure to the concept of sex nonconformity is through pornography. You know, I'm not saying that's a good thing, but it is true, you know, even in today's woke world. So the kind of you know, it's deliberate regression, basically. It's the same thing they do with black people in porn, labeling it ebony. I think it's in a comparable category, though I don't know if it's as possible to, like, categorize the presence of black women in... Actually, they kind of do this a little bit in anime, don't they? Where they're like, anyone else love dark-skinned queens, and then they'll draw somebody who has the exact same proportions and facial features as the white characters that they like, but with darker skin. Like, they never draw black features, they only draw darker skin. That's actually pretty common. It's a little like it. It's a little bit like it. Can't really deny the existence of black people, but it's kind of like a way of pushing them out, you know? What does that mean? I feel like what I described is pretty easy to understand, if you were listening. Yeah, I feel like I was giving that to you pretty straightforwardly. It was very clear anime does this a lot. Yeah. Vaush is incriminating himself for knowing enough about anime culture to know that there are many examples of people being drawn with dark skin and being implied to be black, but not having any black features. You don't gotta be watching much anime to pick up on that one. That's a pretty straightforward one. Knowing about anime culture is kind of problematic. Well, that's fucking true. Can you make a white character with black features? Yeah, easily. Yeah, 100%. Like, if you draw, the alternative is a caricature. The fuck is it a caricature to draw a black character with black features? I'm not saying you got to draw every black character with black features. I'm telling you, there's like thousands. I don't know if I could name thousands. Lots of anime characters out there where it's like, this character is black, they have dark skin, but then they just have the same features as drawn in like typical anime characters or whatever. Because it's, yeah, the anime style, but then that anime style draws like white characters differently. You can't talk about stuff like this without people playing dumb. They love doing that shit. The new Mesoamerican inspired character from Genshin Impact made me... Oh, Genshin Impact loves doing that shit. Yeah, where they're like, these characters are from Egypt, and these characters are from, like, Central America. And then it's they're all the same guy. They're all the same damn fucking... They're the same guy. They look the same. It's not even a skin tone thing. It's like a features thing. It's a little funny. It's a little funny. Why do you think they don't give a fuck about trans men? Because women are typically the ones who are like fetishized for their beauty and sexual appeal. So trans women would be like the icons of that. You know, it just different focuses. You know, it's a blessing and a curse, I imagine. More attention, negative and positive. Yeah, we're all in this together. By we, I mean, of course, progressives, not trans people. I'm actually cisgender, much to the chagrin of many people in my audience. They hate that. They hate that about me, and I keep telling them, I'm sorry, I'm cisgender, you know? There's nothing I can do about it. I was born this way. They did also nuke all the trans mass tags. Well, that makes sense, because they're just trying to, like, erase the existence of trans people. I feel bad for the people who are going to be on Rule 34 looking for, like, art of trans girls, or, like, fucking porn trans women or whatever, and then they're getting, like, bombarded with shitty fuda, whatever the fuck. Like, these were 2 distinct categories, you know? Don't because they're, like, 90% chasers. I mean, it's got to be better to be looking up trans_woman than Fuda on Rule 34, right? Like, if you had to choose between those two, I don't feel sorry for anyone using that website. That's probably fair. The old term is she-male. Hot take. I think that's better than Fuda as like a default term, because at least that acknowledges like the existence of being transgender. Whereas the Fuda thing is purely just like erasure magic is the only way that this can happen slop. No one says she-male, but all the people who say Fuda are either insanely annoying or incredibly like transphobic Nazis. That's the only shit I've seen. Vaush being retarded again? Every day. You can just call them women. Wow, how woke. Wow, really? Well, thank you for introducing that possible answer to the paradigm, you know? My previously, like, completely uncommitted position on transgender women has now been clarified by your suggestion. I wasn't just talking about two specific examples and comparing the ways in which they're... Don't be fucking stupid, okay? Jesus Christ. The site's been overrun with AI images, too. Isn't that every website now? My trans friend calls herself Fuda because she's uncomfy with trans women. It's sad to say. That's tragic. That's like the sunken place territory there. Like that's a lot of self-hatred, like framed through a very specific kind of brainworms, you know? That's pretty rough. Vaush's first bad take, wow. That it's rough to call yourself... I don't know what you people are on. I don't know what you people are on. There are many a trans woman who feel compelled to fetishize themselves. Yeah, did you see that one post where Brianna Wu was like, many of us trans women through autogynephilia feel compelled to self-sexualize or whatever the fuck, or some shit like that. Holy, that was that was something else. Fuck, don't remind me, stop reminding me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My apologies. Fetishizing yourself is like incredibly fun, dude. No one gives a shit. No one cares at all about your positions on that. It's actually deeply unhealthy. Get help. Oh yeah, for sure. What the fuck are you talking about? What are your logs? Fuck, they haven't been updated lately. I can't see the insane shit you've been typing. Wait, what's the real difference between self-love and fetishizing yourself? You are genuinely so far from heaven that you even feel the need to ask that question. I can't, like, this is not therapy. You have to, this is a journey of self-discovery that you need to embark on, and probably keep your thoughts on the subject to yourself until you've embarked on it. You know what I mean? This is what I mean with, like, the gore thing earlier. A lot of people are just fucking mentally cooked, you know? It's not like the underlying problem with a lot of people. It's not even like their political views as like an overlying like moral system or what they think should happen to the world. It's that they are so poisoned by social alienation and being online all the time and having very few real experiences in life, including social ones, that like all of the underlying like foundational stuff that you historically have needed to work on before you kind of get involved in society broadly isn't done. So you have people who are in their 20s who are essentially in like an indefinite state of arrested development. I'd refrain from speaking nuts. Internet overuse induced sociopathy is my working theory for this. It's a real damn thing. Yeah, the real problem is that the mall's shut down. And not reading books? Maybe. Yeah, maybe. First time chatting on Vaush and he calls me a sociopath for finding myself sexy. All right, here, that's okay. You can take 30 days and chill out. It would probably be a perma if you were given the opportunity to keep speaking, but now you have 30 days of peace and tranquility that you can use to grow as a person. It's what I mean, man. It's just grim. Some of these people. It's not just internet, it's a societal problem. My roommate is a Luddite and has a horrible case of arrested development. Well, Luddites were based, but your roommate, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, wrong streamer to bring that up to.